Hi everybody! Today I'm going to be working on a colouring tag video called the mid-year review tag, which has ended up tying in quite nicely with my last couple of videos, which is my mid-year colouring book collection update couple of videos that were going on. And I was tagged into this by Amberle Silencia. She has a colouring channel which I will link in the description below, and her colourings are amazing, so if you haven't already checked her out, please go do so, and I'll leave the link down below. She invited me to join this tag, which is basically a list of questions to answer about how the year has gone so far, colouring wise, as we're now at the end of June, which is the midway point through the year. And I have all the questions written down here in my notebook, so I'll start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. Number one, did you set yourself a colouring goal for the first half of the year? That's the first part. If you count your pages, how many have you coloured so far this year? And how was the first part of the year colouring wise? So it's kind of a three-part question. So for the first part, did you set yourself a colouring goal for the first half of the year? Well, no, not really. My goal for the first part of the year was basically working on growing my channel and trying to work out how to film, trying to get better at that, and taking a few lessons off my son for editing and figuring things out and kind of feeling my way into how to actually do this YouTube kind of thing, which is going great so far. And to be honest, I never expected to have this many subscribers, so I would have been happy with like 50. I didn't expect to get that many, but thank you everybody that has subscribed and everyone that comments and all the likes. It's amazing, and I really do appreciate every one of you. Thank you for all that you do. So yeah, my goal was basically working on the channel this year. I do have a book that I'm aiming to finish, but that's an eventually kind of thing. It's not a goal for the first part of the year, because doing something like that, I would totally psych myself out and I'd never be able to do it, which is probably why I don't tend to make plans as is anyway. If I tied myself down into doing anything, I end up changing my mind and then having to do it, because otherwise I'd be letting you all down and stuff. So yeah, aside from my monthly theme that I don't really plan anything, as you may have noticed, that there we go. So yeah, plans for the first half of the year, work on the channel, which I have done, and it's gone amazingly well, mainly due to all you guys who do watch my videos. So part two, if you count your pages, how many have you coloured? Well, I had to go back through all my old videos to work this out, because I don't post them all on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere. I had to go through the videos to actually count how many I'd done, and apparently 62. 62 I did up till the end of June. And number three, how was the first part of the year colouring wise? Well, aside from over the new year when I came down with a nasty case of the flu and I had to take some bed rest for a few days and get, stop colouring completely, because I just couldn't bring myself the energy to do it. Apart from that, it's gone super well, because I have been focusing on the channel and knowing that I want to have pages to show at the end of the month to be able to make a video for you guys and show you what I've been doing. I've coloured a lot more than what I've usually coloured, I think, and spent a lot more time on colouring as a hobby than I used to do. So yeah, I think so far it's been going great. Fortunately, I haven't come down with the colouring slump that a lot of people seem to have come down with. My problem is exactly the opposite at the moment. I want to do everything. I have so many ideas that are like lining up to be done. There's videos I want to make, pictures I want to colour, things I want to try out, and so many things I want to do. I just can't do them fast enough. There's just not enough time. But yeah, I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can, because yeah, the dreaded colouring slump is probably lurking around the corner somewhere. Hopefully somewhere far, far away where I won't see it for quite a long time. But anyway, moving on with the questions. Number two, show us your favourite images from the first half of the year, like your favourite images that you've coloured. And this is why we have this spread of books here. These are my favourite. I've picked out four, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, four of my favourite images from the first part of the year. So I'll show you guys all these four images that I've picked out. And the first one is from Spirit Animals by Hannah Carlson. This one was part of a tutorial video where I showed you guys how I coloured the pink clouds that I used on another different whip. And I showed you how I coloured those. And this one was mainly with the Castle Arts Gold pencils, which I treated myself to at the end of last year. When did I film this one? March I coloured this one, so yeah, I was really pleased with how that came out. So I ended up with a really nice colour palette there. The clouds worked so well, I was just so inspired that I had to finish the whole picture. And this was the first time I tried to work out a colour combination to colour gold metal with my Castle Art gold pencils, and I think that worked really well, and I've stuck with that since with my Castle Arts gold. And yeah, I was like super pleased with that one, how it came out. And double page spreads are always a ton of work, but they always look super nice. It's worth it in the end, I think, doing them. And the next one is from Beauty of Horror 5 by Alan Roberts. And anyone who's seen my last couple of videos will be familiar with this one. It's my Kurt Cobain 2-page spread. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was my favourite picture in the book. It was the picture that made me buy the book from seeing flip-throughs. I'm not a huge fan of Nirvana, to be perfectly honest, but something in this picture just spoke to me and I had to colour it in. And yeah, there we go. Collage paper background, a few little gold stickers, Castle Arts and Arteza pencils. And yeah, as well as really enjoying colouring the picture, Alan Robert actually did a repost and linked it on his Instagram to my tutorial. And that was from the end of January, so yeah, really pleased with that one. The next one is from last month's completed pages video. This one's from Day of the Dead colouring book, and this is the one that was started by my mum before she actually gave me the book, and I just went in and finished it off, in keeping with her colour scheme that she'd started me off with, and finishing that off. And I remember when she gave me the book, she said, "Oh, you can just tear out the ones that I've started." And I said, "No, I'll finish them." She was like, don't bother. And I said, "I will." So I did. And I think that turned out really, really well. And I really enjoyed colouring it because it did, yeah, it made me feel close to my mum. I felt like I was colouring a page with her, which I can't at the moment because she's living up in Wales. I'm right down in Cornwall. She's up in North Wales. So yeah, it's a fair way away. So it was really nice to feel close to my mum colouring that one. So that's why that one's on my favourite images list. The next one is from Creatures of the Nights Colouring Heaven Special by Sarah Richter. And the one I've picked is this one. Mainly because it's one of the very few attempts I've had at colouring grayscale. And I was super happy with how it turned out. I really love this background and I really love colouring skulls. I was super happy with how this kind of skull moon came out. I really, really enjoyed colouring that one. It did get a little bit tedious, which is why I ended up putting these clouds into the bottom and just covering it up because I did get a bit, I'd had enough of colouring all these stars, so I just put some clouds in on the bottom, but I'm super pleased with how it turned out. I love how this glow has turned out around the moon, and I love the background, and I love the fact that I sat down, I did it, put my mind to it, and it's like, yeah, you can do grayscale, there's no need to be scared of it anymore. So yeah, that's why that one is on my list of favourite completed pages this year. Okay, just looking at the notebook then, the next question is, which book have you coloured the most in? And this is the one that I said I was looking to finish a book eventually, probably not this year, but eventually. I'm trying to do at least one picture every month. I haven't done one this month yet, but I will. I really will, because my son will remind me else if I don't. He will annoy me about it if I don't. But this is The Way Home, a galactic colouring book by Morgan O'Brien, and this is a book that I do want to finish at some point. I will show you the ones that might be better if I use the tags, eh? Show you the ones that I have done. That one was from last month. There we go, this one was from last month, where I took the theme of Alice in Wonderland because this kind of cat creature was really giving me Cheshire Cat vibes, so I went with the Alice in Wonderland theme for that. Bit of collage from another colouring book. So yeah, I just let my hair down, I had a bit of fun with that one. The next one is this one, which I coloured with Xenicolor pencils, and I tried to copy the cover kind of colour palette, what I had going on the cover. And yeah, I loved colouring all these little plants, so I drew my own little forest along the bottom so I could colour a few more of them. I did in a few stars on the top there, coloured those in to fill in the top. Yeah, this is the first one that I coloured, and I can't remember if it was from this year or the very end of last year. It could be the very end of last year, but this is another one that I've coloured in here as well. I don't think I actually dated. I can't see a date on that one, which is unusual for me. I do usually date my pictures. But yeah, that's the first one I tried. That one was with alcohol markers. And I've given him some glitter glue on that one. I don't know if you can see glittering in the background. Yeah, a little bit of green glitter glue in the background for little baby Yoda there. And I do know his name's Grogu, but to me he'll always be Baby Yoda. This is a snow themed one that I did with lots of glitter. I think that was the Astra Pastelo pencils, if I remember right, that one. Some silver gel pen and these kind of snowflake kind of stickers that I picked up and I thought they'd be great in the background for that one. So that one was fun. They're super quick as well, kind of like Matchstick Mouse. I think it's the same artist and same format and everything. And yeah, this is the last one that I've coloured. This one is a colour along on the channel. So this one was coloured with a Giotto Stil Novo skin set of pencils that I was given as a gift. So I tested them out on this paper and they seem to work quite well. They're quite hard pencils, but they do work on the better quality Amazon paper. And that one is a colour along on the channel that I filmed. I think it's real time, that one, if anybody's interested in looking that one up. But yeah, there we go. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures I've coloured in that one. Which is the most pictures that I've coloured this year, I think, in any book. And hopefully someday that one will be finished. Next question, number 4. Which is the last book you got and why? So again, back to my colouring book update videos. This one is the last book that I bought, Harry Potter colouring book. And as for why, it was £2 in the charity shop. anything that crops up in the charity shop for low prices like this, I tend to pick up, because if I can't use them myself or give them as gifts, I can bring them into something, use them for something, whether it's practicing techniques or cutting bits out and sticking them onto other pages. I can usually use them for something. So that's the one that I bought last, mainly because it was cheap. So yeah, that's the one that I bought last, Harry Potter colouring book. The next question. Did you discover any new artist or publishing company that you like? Well, I've discovered a few this year. I did know of quite a lot last year that I just didn't have books of, but these ones I've discovered this year, I think, as far as I remember right. First of all, Joseph Kattenbang. This is the first book I've actually gotten by him, and yeah, I really like this one. Again, this one is from my colouring book collection update, I think, because it's a fairly recent purchase. And for anyone who's interested, there'll be an update on my whip. Yeah, a little bit more done. The grass is all done now on my rocks. I'm not sure I'm totally happy with the colour of these vines, so I've put it down to be thinking about it for a while. So yeah, I need to get back into that one. But yep, Joseph Kattenbang, that's an artist that I've just got into this year. Of course, there's Chris Ortega. This one I came across from, I think I saw this one as a flip through on YouTube, the Colourless Kingdom Volume 1. But I got both of those because I loved the pictures in them. And there's another sneak peek I have actually started in this one. A picture for my men, my guys for July. I've started on him there and I loved it. I love colouring rocks for some reason. Trees and grass I just can't do, but give me a pile of rocks and I'm happy as Larry colouring in. So yeah, that's my start in there for my men theme for this month. So yeah, these pictures are beautiful. These pictures are lovely. They're this one is the Gothic one, so yeah, they're kind of darker, this one. This one does have the better paper. This one's printed in Poland. So yeah, it does have the better paper, that one. And the other one is kind of lighter fantasy. On slightly worse paper, but I'm going to test that and see how well it does. So yeah, that's Chris Ortega, or Ortega. And Colouring Heaven, I do subscribe to Colouring Heaven, which does tend to introduce me to artists that I hadn't really heard of before, and this is one that I've picked out here that I quite like, Eva Nikunin, and this is the Alice in Wonderland special. I've coloured a couple in here, so I quite like this style of this artist. Yep, there's one. That one I coloured mainly markers with pencil shading, which is I'm colouring a lot these days. And that one is mainly pencil, I think, with markers in the background and paint pen. So yeah, that's Eva Nikunin. This is Jasmine Darnell, which is another artist that I hadn't really heard of before. And I have coloured the first picture there. I really love this one. There's a lot of more gothic-y style pictures as well. Kind of fairly detailed. And of course people. I love colouring portraits and people. Fancy clothes, big hair. Anything like that I love colouring in. So yeah, that one's going to be great to colour in. But as I said, there's so much I do want to do. It's getting round to everything. And this is the last one. This is an artist called Stenera. Yeah, I think it's Stenera. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, so forgive me if I've done it wrong. This is another fairly recent issue. And yeah, I really loved all the pictures in here. Oh, neighbour's dog. Please excuse the background noise. The neighbours let the dogs out, apparently. So yeah, that's another artist that I found through Colouring Heaven that I really like. Alright, I'll just move this book here while we answer the next few questions, just to leave us something to look at as for a future answer, but I don't want everyone staring at my green, cutting that there. The next one, what were your favourite and most used supplies? Well, I tend to use either Castle Arts, I have Castle Arts Gold now, and Arteza Expert pencils. That's what I use for most of my colouring, unless I specifically say otherwise. Of course, the Uniball Signo white gel pen. I don't think I could colour without one of those. That's kind of a staple. And of course my Hoo markers that I use as a base usually. I really need to learn how to shade with alcohol markers. I need to try that and figure out how to shade with them, because I've seen other people do it and it just looks phenomenal, so I want to be able to do that. So I need to practice. I've tried a little tiny bit. I'm not super successful at it yet because it's kind of a new thing to me. I only just got into alcohol markers like the end of last year, beginning of this year, so yeah, that's kind of a new thing to me. And also paint pens. Acrylic paint marker. I've used those a few times and I quite like those. A lot less messy than trying to use actual acrylic paint and it saves you having to clean the palette. So yeah, those I need to work on using as well. Okay, did you discover any new colouring channels? That's question number 7. And I already had a pretty big playlist of colouring channels that I subscribed to. When I started getting into colouring, like seriously, maybe 2020, around that kind of time, 2019, 2020. So the bigger kind of colouring channels I've probably been following since then. But lately, since this year, I have subscribed to quite a few actually. I've just picked up a few here off the top of my list. First one is A Cluttered Life. And I will link all these channels in the description below. First of all, A Cluttered Life. And she was the one whose video switched me onto using Super Tips as watercolour, because she really does like using water-based markers. So I watched a few of her videos and decided to have a go myself, which we'll see in a little while, mainly in this book. We'll see that in a little while, but yeah, her videos kind of helped me along with that, showed me how to do it, and yeah, I love it. So thank you very much if you're watching A Cluttered Life. Another one I love to watch is Influenced Colorist, because she quite often shows where she gets her inspiration for where she got her colour palettes and the ideas she has, like posters or colour palettes, photos and things. She shows them on her channel, and it's really interesting to see how she gets the inspiration and translates it onto the picture. So yeah, I've also been watching Shell's colouring journey quite a lot lately, because she likes to use Albert Dürer watercolour pencils, and I want to start to use my watercolour pencils. I've got some Arteza watercolour pencils, which I have tried to use in the past and not been too successful, and I know they're not at the quality of Albert Dürer, but to practice I think they'll be fine, and I want to try and learn how to use my watercolour pencils. So I have been watching Shell's colouring journey. And yeah, that's another one I recommend. And last one I really like is Inksmith. I've been watching a lot of her videos lately, and I really like her videos because she also does a lot of crafting, journaling, scrapbooking, that kind of stuff, and she brings that into her pictures, and I really love that. I try and bring in like collage and things like that into my pictures as well, but yeah, I really like the way she brings in her scrapbooking and her craft supplies and stuff into her colouring pictures. So yeah, I will link all those down below, and if you haven't subscribed to them, then yep, I recommend them. Go and give them a bit of a watch, you won't regret it. Number 8, did you try any new colouring techniques or follow a colour along? Did you take part in any body colours? Well, unfortunately no, I didn't take part in any body colours. Kind of on the lines of new techniques and following a tutorial. This is why I've brought this book into the picture. This is Learning from a Cluttered Life, the technique of using super tips as watercolour, which I really enjoyed. I did try it once before. I think I mentioned that once when I showed this picture. I mentioned that I did try it once before and failed terribly because the paper I was trying it on was really bad. Children's colouring book paper that I tried it on, and it really didn't work. It just bled everywhere and looked a total mess. But I followed her video and I found out that it works really well in these books. So yeah, I really enjoyed colouring. This is one that I coloured. When did I colour this one? That coloured that one back in February, and then I did another one that I have as a tutorial on the channel. There we go, that's the one I did as a tutorial. And I really love the way you can make these kind of galaxy effects using the super tips and just add in the water, then it will dissolve and kind of blob into each other to get these really nice effects. Oh, I love that kind of thing. I really do. I love it with watercolour when it happens, but it's kind of a little less hassle to do it with super tips and just yeah, scribble the colours down and then wet it and see what they can come up with. And yeah, so yeah, I got that one from following a tutorial. I haven't really followed any colour alongs. There is one that I plan on at least trying to follow along the colour scheme or the basics, but that will come in a month or two probably when I finally get around to it. And next question. Which is your most anticipated book to be released in the second part of the year? Well, another kind of new artist that I've gotten onto, which I didn't mention in the list earlier, is Lana Green. I've downloaded a few of her pages from Etsy, and yesterday I actually joined her Patreon, which I didn't know about, but it was mentioned in the colouring group, and I was like, oh yeah, she's got Patreon. I need to go and join that. So I went and joined her Patreon, where you get 2 pictures every month, and it's only like for me it was £1, and then you get 20 pence tax as well, so it's like £1.20 every month, and you get 2 colouring pictures. So yeah, if you haven't joined that and you want to join her Patreon, I recommend Lana Green. And she has got a colouring book. It is actually, I think, out in America at the moment, and I've seen a flip through of it and it is gorgeous, but you can't for the life of you get it on Amazon UK at the moment. It doesn't even know what you're trying to type in. So yeah, I really want that book. That is the one that's top of my wish list at the moment. It was that one and the Christine Karen one, Wildflower Folk, the 2 that I really wanted next. And I've gotten my hands on Christine Karen, and I really want that Lana Green one, which officially I suppose has been released, but not in the UK as far as I can tell. And if I tried to order it from America, from Amazon US, then it would probably end up with the postage costing more than the book, which wouldn't be a good situation. So yeah, that is the book that I'm really wanting at the moment. And question number 10, any regrets, any purchases you'd rather not have bought? And for this one, usually I don't regret really buying anything, because anything I can try and help me learn will move me along. But these 2, I've got to get honourable mentions, I think, because of the paper quality. I have been given a few tips for using either really terrible Amazon paper, which is what's in this one. This is Dark Beauty by Crook. And I'm not sure you can buy these on Amazon anymore, to be honest with you. From what I've heard, they've been taken down. But that one is printed in Great Britain, and the paper quality really sucks. I know everyone's seen by now the picture that I did start in here. This is the picture that I started in here. And yeah, paper quality was absolutely terrible. The marker was all patchy, really badly patchy. The pencils just weren't layering, or if you pressed too hard, you were denting the paper and wrinkling the paper, and you're in danger of going right the way through and making holes. So yeah, it was really bad. But I have had a couple of tips on how to cope with the paper, which I might try before folding and just scanning everything in and printing it out onto my own paper. And I have actually sprayed this one with a couple of coats of fixative to give that a try. I think that was a suggestion that I had. So that's the fixative that I've got. So I've tried a couple of coats of that. It's actually running out now, so I need to get some more. But yeah, I've given it a couple of coats of that, and I'm going to try going into that and using the fixative and see if that helps with the paper. And the other thing which I want to try in this one, I have tried, there's a page at the back that I have actually sprayed. I've sprayed that one with the fixative to see if that gives us a bit more texture. And something else I'd like to try is using water medium, either watercolour or, as I mentioned before, my watercolour pencils, to try and use those as a base and give a bit of texture. Maybe not on this one, because this one I'm testing out the fixative, but maybe that one or another one, just using watercolour pencils as a base and seeing if I can work on it that way, whether it soaks through the paper or not, we'll have to see. But yeah, so a few more tests before I give up on that book then, I think, because I've had a few tips on how to use those. And the other one that gets a kind of honourable mention is this one. Not that I regret the book is lovely, but I bought it, I ordered it on Amazon when I actually had, I was gifted a Amazon card, and this was one of the books that I bought from it, and I bought from a third-party site. It wasn't actually from Amazon, and it really did give a really long delivery time, which was a bit a bit off anyway in the first place. But I ordered from them because it was cheap at the time, and I waited for the delivery time. And yeah, it didn't come, so I gave them an extra week and it still didn't come, so I got in contact with the seller and they said, oh no, I think our site is so popular that sometimes things sell out before we can take them down off the site, so we'll give you a refund, we've sent you a refund. And I thought, oh, okay, fair enough. But I waited another week after that and still no refund, so I ended up having to get back to Amazon to sort me out, and I ended up getting refunded, and then I actually bought this one from Amazon. So yeah, but it's not the book that I regret, it's the company that I regretted buying from, and yeah, I won't be using them again. So yeah, those are the 10 questions for the mid-year review. And while I have you all here as a captive audience, if anybody has stuck with me all the way through this video, I'd like to kind of bring in a couple of projects that I'm kind of working on the back burner, kind of behind the scenes. I'm just giving you a little bit of a prelude here. First of all, if anybody watched my colouring book update videos, you'll know that I'm not a fan of this Garden Gnome Special from Colouring Heaven. So I have decided, in the name of science, to do an experiment with it. And this arose because I watched a YouTube short video about an artist who wanted to find out how much drawing he could do with one ink pen before it ran out. And he ended up, with a teeny tiny ink pen, he did a double page spread in a sketchbook just using one teeny tiny ink pen before it ran out. And it was really detailed with lots of shading. So I thought, oh, I like colouring with black pen. So I've picked up, this was originally a new and unused big biro, and I thought, let's see how many pictures I can actually colour with this. And because this one, each picture is the same kind of difficulty level, they're all fairly big spaces, and the pictures are all exactly the same size, they all have the same size frame. I'm going to see how many pictures I can actually colour with that black biro before it runs out. And they probably won't go on my finished pages video because it's just a fun little experiment, and I'll just make one big video at the end when we found out how many pages I can colour with a black biro before it totally runs out. And there we go, that's the first one. Originally I was going to start by colouring the front cover, but then because all the pictures are the same size, I thought maybe that would throw off my results a little bit, so I've gone with just colouring the pictures inside. And that's the first one. And I've just started on the second one there, so that's a little kind of sneak peek of that kind of experiment I've got going on. And lastly, I don't know if this is ever going to come to fruition or not, I picked up this book in a charity shop. Again, from a charity shop, it was £2. And yeah, I knew what state it was in before I bought it, to be perfectly honest. And I did film a flip through of what it looked like when I brought it home. It's been well loved, we'll put it that way, put it mildly. I have worked in it a little bit, but you can see, yeah, page is missing. So yeah, a small child has had it and loved it a lot. That's one that I've actually worked on. These pages were coming out, so I've stuck on this kind of scrapbooking paper to try and make it part of the image, and yeah, go around all the doodle kind of still image with the black pen, and maybe to do some of these big blobs of colour over there to kind of tie all the page together. That's how I've worked on that one. And this one, as the page was coming out, I've stuck this piece of brown paper because there was another page there that didn't fit in. Some had been removed. This page was falling out. I've stuck some brown paper in there and drawn my own version of this tree. And yeah, I'm going to leave that as brown and white, and then maybe shade this in kind of sepia shades, try and match the brown paper and be like opposites but kind of fading into each other, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can see what kind of state this book is in. This one had a page missing there, you can see there, so I've taken that out and tried to make it into a double page spread by carrying on the flowers. I have no idea how I'm going to try and fix these. There's a lot bleed through there on that one. Another page is missing. And yeah, these are the worst pages. There. That is going to be a task and a half to try and save. But yeah, my plan is to save it and finish the book and hopefully have it looking really nice by the time I'm done. You can see there, I've started on the first page while I think about how I'm going to actually try and rescue these badly mangled pages we've got a little bit further on. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that project will end out, but again, that's going to be once I've finished it. Maybe that will be one big video with the before and the after flip throughs. Maybe I might film trying to save some of the worsted pages if I can actually save them. But maybe making this kind of little intro will spur me on to try and do that. So there we go. That's all the 10 questions for the mid-year review tag. And as usual, if anybody hasn't already done this tag, it's a really fun little tag actually, thinking back for the last 6 months. But if anybody hasn't actually done it, then please, yeah, consider yourself tagged by me to go and do it. I will link in everyone that I've mentioned down in the description below. And yeah, hope you enjoyed watching that. Have fun, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye!